We get this question all the time. What happens to all that stuff you bypassed? And we know the answer because we've been back. In other words, can I introduce Joe?
Sure.
Okay, so Joe came to see us. He was what we would call part of the 400 club. He weighed almost 400. He had blood sugars from his diabetes around 400. He had to take almost 400 units of insulin a day. And he has a little battery that every once in a while shocks him because his heart stops. Other than that, he was in good shape except for 2 artificial knees and every once in a while passing out from his sugar and other things. So we bypassed a lot in him at his first surgery because we wanted to cure his diabetes.
We did.
Right, and we talked with he and his wife ahead of time, and I said, I am often conservative in my bypass, but I want to hit you really hard with a big bypass because I'm so committed. I want so desperately to cure your diabetes because I feel your diabetes is very severe and potentially deadly. And so I think we all agreed. He actually wanted to bypass even more than I was willing to, and I think wisely I didn't listen to him. But we bypassed. That you were nice, that's true. But we then went ahead and did his surgery, and it took about 3 months, but we cured his diabetes. We cured his sleep apnea. We cured his high blood pressure. Cured his neuropathy. His heart battery that used to shock him 6 times a month has not gone off for almost a year. Is that correct? 10 months, no shocks. So we made his heart better. We may have given him, I'm going to make up a number, 10 or 20 years of extra life. But I failed him also because I bypassed too much and he got too thin. And the reason I tell you that story is then I apologized to both he and his wife. I said, I'm sorry. And we revised his surgery. And what that means is I went back to look at his surgery. And that gets back to your question. So I looked at his old stomach. I looked at the bypassed intestine. And I said, I need some more of you guys back at work. I bypassed too much. You guys have been sitting around not doing anything. I want some of you back to work. So I took apart his bypass and moved back so he has a less bypass. And all of his gut and stomach are completely like I left them. So one of the wonderful parts of this surgery, in my opinion, is if it needs to be undone, we can undo it in about 30 or 40 minutes. And we had to in his case. And so we backed up. And all of the gut, the stomach you asked about, and the intestine was fine. And I had to say I failed him with a major complication and bypassed too much, but we could undo that. And now, are you doing okay, or how's things?
Much better.
Yeah.
More strength, more energy. Back to work.
Oh, really? Good. Good.
For the first 2 days this weekend.
Good.
I have to go back and do it.
Good.
We're doing good.
Good. And how's the sugar?
76.
So we cured his diabetes. Now, remember, it took me 2 operations, so mea culpa, that means I failed him. On the other hand, can you imagine being cured of diabetes? Can you imagine being cured of diabetes that required 400 units of insulin a day for a blood sugar of 400? That's deadly.
According to the endocrinologist, it's impossible.
Yeah, that leads to blindness. That leads to heart attack. That leads to stroke. That leads to kidney failure and amputation and things like that. And he's not diabetic anymore. Now, I failed him by bypassing too much, but it answers your question of all that stuff I bypassed. If I ever want it back, if I want it undone, I can undo it in the matter of a half an hour. And that's, I think, again, I can't really brag on his case because I failed him and bypassed too much. On the other hand, curing diabetes, yeah. So that's